Good morning, Arthur Rafferty, ASNI-TV. Once again, you get that corrupt BBC going over the top to honour a terrorist from ANC, a terrorist organisation that was hated by Britain, America and most other nations. A group that Mandela was a member of, who killed thousands of innocent men, women and children in an uprising in Africa against a legal government. This man was a terrorist and stood trial for his crimes. He could have been hung, but the courts gave him a life sentence for war crimes. Then you get those politicians from America, Clinton, Bush and Obama, from Britain, Cameron, Blair and Brown, and also Prince Charles in place of the Queen. Then you get Mugabe, also Adams and McGuinness, all war criminals guilty of mass murder of innocent men, women and children, and also genocide. If the Geneva Conventions and the War Crimes Commission, who are looking for war criminals, they don't have to look too far, for at least 100 was there. Why these war criminals are still free and travelling all over the world is beyond me. What about the millions of innocent men, women and children who have been butchered by these sadistic warlords? And their armies are still doing it right up to the present day. Ask the innocent people of Iraq, of Libya, of Serbia, of Afghanistan, of Pakistan and of Hiroshima, and also the innocent people that were murdered and butchered by war criminals here in Northern Ireland. And these warmongers are still ruling the world, telling small nations what they can do and what they can't do. Mandela's case brings back to me the trouble we have here in Northern Ireland. He was a war criminal, jailed and served his time, and was set free, and he and his terrorist group, the ANC, was allowed to run a country, just like those Sinn Féin IRA scum in Northern Ireland. They were at war with the powers that be, and also the ordinary public. Sinn Féin IRA committed war crimes, killing many innocent people who had nothing to do with their corrupt war, killing many innocent unarmed people who should have been treated like prisoners of war according to the Geneva Convention. Many were shot in the back of the head and dumped naked in a field. Many were taken and questioned and tortured, then shot and buried in unmarked graves, in bogs and in fields all over Ireland. Some have still not been found after 40 years. No one from Sinn Féin IRA have been charged with war crimes. After all, we have Human Rights Commission, we have Equality Commission, we have Amnesty International, all here in Belfast. Yet not one of those war criminals have been questioned about their crimes. And these murderers are allowed to attend Mandela's farce of a funeral. But then again, Adams and McGuinness were not alone. Also attending the funeral were some of the most corrupt politicians in the world, who have committed mass murder and genocide to millions of innocent people all over the world, and they are not going to be charged for their crimes. And again, like Mandela, Sinn Féin IRA are rewarded for their war crimes, killing innocent men, women and children, and are offered a power-sharing storming with other British puppets to run a country. But what can you expect from a country such as Britain? They are also war criminals. I went to Amnesty International in Belfast and spoke to a Mr. Patrick Corrigan about my father, who was murdered by Sinn Féin IRA. I wanted some details about taking them to court on war crimes. He gave me no help at all. He told me to do what he told me to do was to get in contact with Community Restorative Justice Ireland, the Relatives for Justice, and the Pat Finucane Centre. I don't know whether this man Patrick Corrigan was joking or not, but does he not know that those three groups are all part of Sinn Féin ARA network? He was no help to me at all. Whoever is funding that group, Amnesty International, I would advise them to have a rethink about who they allocate funding to. That man was more intent to help Sinn Féin ARA than he was to help me. Maybe he is another branch of Sinn Féin ARA under a different name. I would also like to know who funded those two war criminals on McGuinness. I most surely hope it is not the public fund. After all, my father was murdered by one of their members who worked for the British Army unit called the FRU, the Forces Research Unit, as a well-paid informer, and who has killed many innocent people on their say-so, and is still under their control. From a very good source, this Sinn Féin ARA informer was paid £80,000 a year for his dirty work, as well as getting paid by the corrupt RUC for also being a special branch informer. Yet, when I asked for some help to help me bury my father, after all, my father left a large family of 8 children, that corrupt British government offered me £310 to bury him. That wouldn't bury a budget. I sent the cheque back and told them in no uncertain manner what they could do with their £310. It is clear that if you want to be noticed in this world, you have to be either a murderer, a terrorist, a paedophile, a war criminal, a corrupt politician, a member of the corrupt legal system, or a member of a paramilitary group who for 40 years can kill, bomb and commit war crimes on ordinary members of the public, spend time in prison, get out on early release and become politicians and even become Lord Mayors. That cannot happen to a member of the public who has a record, so why are terrorists like Sinn Féin ARA allowed to hold these jobs down? Talk about double standards on human rights? What a joke. I have approached the human rights in Belfast before about that subject and got no response at all. Now, anyone who would like a DVD of this story or any other of my stories can call me on my mobile 07715 921137 and I will send you a DVD free. Anyone who has a story to tell me and wishes to air it can call me on 07715 921137 or I can send a reporter out to get your story. And remember, I will tell your story as you tell me. Nothing will be cut out. Watch more of my stories on YouTube. YouTube Arthur Rafferty, arthurrafferty.com. My email address is arthurrafferty1@gmail.com. Arthur Rafferty Dogger. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Good morning.